Well, once again, welcome into the Cards Central Postgame show. I'm Sara alongside Luke, and a Sunday loss. The Birds a 4.5 hour rain delay, but they somehow decided to still get this one in and wrap it up. Final out of George Steinbrenner Field with 7-2 on the bump. Let's go ahead and take a look at Libby and what happened out there. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 4 runs, 4 of those earned, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a total of 73 pitches. Took one off the foot, rather stayed in the game. And here we are again, the Birds tallying a couple runs late, but just not enough at the beginning to get it done. No run support there whatsoever.
No run support, and that's kind of par for the course with right-hander Ryan Pepiot for the Rays. Came over in that Tyler Glasnow trade a few years ago, and he's good for this once a month where he's just unhittable, no walks. He has carved up some of the more contentious teams, especially in the American League. He stuck it to the Blue Jays earlier this year, stuck it to the Astros, and he was nails. Pinpoint with his command, and the Cardinals couldn't really get anything going against him. I think the one chance that they did came, I believe, in the top of the fourth. Wilson Contreras walking with 2 outs and then trying to swipe a bag with Nolan Gorman at the plate. It looks bad in retrospect because Wilson was just hung out to dry there by catcher Nick Fortes. But they really couldn't manufacture runs there until the Rays dipped into their bullpen. The Rays got 6 ways to Sunday to get to the ninth inning and get to Pete Fairbanks, and they didn't have to broach the possibility of a save opportunity today. So some good 2-out hitting by Jordan Walker late in this game. And even in the ninth inning, the Cardinals, I mean, I'm not going to spin this whatsoever, but with Joel Pozo up and 2 runners on there with 2 outs, tying runs in the hole. But I'm going to speak for all Cardinal Nation when I say that's just not good enough. Not going to put the spin on this. Not going to try to make this a positive embrace thing. I could be at Jersey Boys right now at the Muni, and instead we're talking about the Cardinals once again with a pretty lackluster pitching performance today. There's really no highlights. Ryan Fernandez going 1-2-3 there towards the end. But yeah, 3 hits there towards the end of the game. They finished with 5 after 9 innings. But most of the game with 2 hits against Ryan Pepiot and co. Ain't going to get it done, Sara.
And Pepiot is known to give up home runs, right? The Cardinals didn't get a hold of any. However, Tampa did. They had the solo shot, which a solo shot you can come back from, right? Then Libby exits the game. You have the bases loaded, and Swanson comes in, and you have a grand slam, and that really just kind of puts the Birds, lets the air out of tires, so to speak, if they had a chance. And it's just hard to come back from that, especially, again, not excuse, 4.5 hour rain delay. People are probably tired or sitting around. They're probably tired or sitting around. And here you go, just kind of like, just kind of a dagger.
They really should, Sarah, conduct a study on the psyche of teams and teammates during a rain delay. Like, what is the successful protocol when you are, hiding underground for 4.5 hours, and particularly in those minor league facilities at Steinbrenner Field? Sometimes you'll see teams come out of rain delays either to start a game or mid-game, come out a little bit more antsy and more aggressive at the plate. And we saw that from both teams. 6 pitch innings from Pepiot and Liberatore to start the game. And you can also see the outfield defense be a little bit more tentative depending on how the grass plays. If it's a little bit more slick, sometimes the balls will be played a little bit differently in play. And that's no excuse. Matthew Liberatore really disappointed me today. Left-hander, intriguing piece in the Randy Arozarena trade. He had a 3-start stretch in May that got some momentum from the fan base on his side and started to look like he might be ascending into that mid-rotation, fringe to quality 3 starter. And the consistency just hasn't been there since June. You needed some length out of him today. I mean, get this. Hasn't gone 6 innings since June 29th. And that was the last time he won a ball game. So you're looking at 8 starts now under his belt where the velocity has dipped down, command has been missing every now and again, and today it just fell off a cliff. The first 4 innings, Liberatore was exuding confidence and was pounding the zone. The one mistake there was that fastball he wanted to put in on the hands of Christopher Morel, and Morel just hits it out of the park left field side. And if you miss just an inch or two with fastball command there, I mean, Cardinals fans can forgive that. If that's the only blemish you got on your record tonight, then you say, you flush that and you move on. But for Liberatore, the command was working until the 5th, and the wheels come off. You walk the bases loaded, and it sucks. Swanson, 15 2/3 scoreless inning stretch. First pitch leaves it up high, and Caminero goes oppo taco for a grand slam. And that's really, I mean, that's the ball game right there. There's not coming back from that. Walks kill, those types of hanging pitches in a minor league Mickey Mouse ballpark kill. And so there's no surprise that this game got out of hand in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and Camaro's, I mean, that's his 37th of the year, right? His second career grand slam. He passed A-Rod for the 21 and younger age group for the home runs in a season. So clearly the guy can hit. It's the last person you possibly want at the plate when you're in a situation like this. I mean, he's going to do something, right? He's going to have a really good at bat unless you're lights out. And that's just not what we have the confidence in with the Cardinals bullpen right now.
Yeah, and I mean, one more note on Liberatore. There were some positive glimpses I got of his breaking ball. The curve did not get the most whiffs today, but he had some induced vertical break going from 19 to 21 inches. He struck out Nick Fortes in the third on this, looking on this curveball that broke about 20 inches down. Really nice bender there, and he gets 6 whiffs on the slider, 9 whiffs total on the game. So some good swing and miss there from Liberatore early, and then the bullpen can't pick him up. Granillo tried, and of course, giving up that 2-run triple to Simpson there. Um, that was just, yeah.
And he's got wheels. That was
I don't.
that was impressive.
They really do. I mean, they run on you, they grind you down, they play to the ballpark that they're in right now. Now, next year when they're back in the dome and they start, looking at future stadium options, don't know if the makeup of this team is going to play necessarily, but a good combination of pop and speed. It's unfortunate that the Rays really fell off a cliff. There was a time there around the All-Star break where they were gunning for one of those wild card spots, and they've got some intriguing young talent. I think I kind of glossed over Carson Williams hitting his first home run there on Friday, and then his first career double today and stolen base. Like, they got some dudes, and it's the
Yeah.
type of upside and talent that you would like to see from a Chaim Bloom led Cardinals team moving forward. But Sarah, I don't have a whole lot of positives today. I really I can't speak to it. This was just, it was ugly to see. It was ugly to delay for 4.5 hours.
Lance Nieming, or sorry if I pronounce his last name wrong, but he's like, what are your guys' thoughts on the Cardinals potentially needing to shut down Winn the rest of the year with the knee issue? So they talked about today in the broadcast, said it's been something since high school he's kind of dealt with. He wants to play through it. However, right now, how he's not in action. We also have a couple other folks. Donnie's starting to swing again. Nolan's starting to take swings, but the Cardinals are beat up. It's not like they're looking at full force right now, but it really hasn't been full force all season. I feel like there's always just someone that's had a nagging injury that hasn't just completed the team.
It's hard to find consistency that way in your plate approach and all that. And there was also a ground ball ruled a base hit that was overturned and ruled an error now against Mason Winn. So that errorless streak that he was on goes away pretty quickly as well. So it's kind of a bad day for Mason Winn on the bench. Doesn't even pick up a bat, but things kind of backfire there. And this will only stoke the flames of the JJ Weatherholt conversation with us 1 week away from September. Hasn't been a whole lot of momentum there from the front office dialogue about what to do with your top prospect. I still maintain that there's a big glut of guys on the left side of the infield. Adding JJ Weatherholt to that mix right now is unfortunate. It's not unfortunate. It's just, it complicates things. Excuse me. Let me correct my
Right.
my phrase there. As far as hmm, as far as the left side of the infield goes and Mason Winn, what is to be gained from having him play out the rest of the season? There was a note that Jim Hayes made on the broadcast day that this has been bothering him since high school.
Yeah.
And certainly many pro athletes have dealt with nagging injuries before, and this hasn't come up as a debilitating issue by any stretch for Mason Winn. But this is the time where the Cardinals are in limbo, where you might consider maybe an IL stint or just some extended time for him to work that out. But having gone his entire professional career with nagging knee pain, this needs to be addressed as someone who right now leads your team and wins above replacements and is a potential face of the franchise moving forward. Who is potentially your best player as you navigate this next 2 or 3 years of an uncertain stretch for St. Louis baseball. So yeah, address this head on and address it boldly.
Yeah, so Justin Hutchins agreeing right there, saying a lot of major league teams calling up their top prospects, but not St. Louis. So again, that puts Weatherholt back in that conversation. 3 for 4 yesterday, as LBD mentioned, and he's just still on fire down in AAA. So hopefully that continues for him. But we're looking at the last 5 weeks of the season. I mean, they come home, have Pittsburgh for 4, Cincinnati, Seattle, Cincinnati again, San Francisco, Chicago, and it's done. The Cardinal season is over.
Yeah, and a lot of teams there that are still in the mix, competitive teams, and I know that we're looking ahead also to a team that's not competitive, Pittsburgh. We're missing Paul Skeens in that series as well, so can't stick it to him one more time. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot to be gained from exposing some younger players or players not on the 40-man right now to major league pitching and get them in that environment and look ahead to see how you can retool for 2026. But right now that this team's kind of in a state of limbo, and it's not a really great place to be.
Couple of comments. Thank goodness football season's around the corner. Go Blues from Mr. Intensity. I know Cardinal fans are just flat out done with this. It's been a rough season. Honestly, it's hard to watch. It's hard to see every time that they get out there. I mean, it's not that they're not trying. It just never, ever falls into place for them, ever.
It doesn't. I Friday night, I'm going through these comments at a rapid fire pace, trying to highlight each one, and there were a couple of Battlehawk shout outs, which made my heart kind of soar a little bit. Looking forward to that 2026. But yeah, this is no place to be for the fan base. I was talking with Ethan Hannaford yesterday on 365, the rare Saturday off day of just how much this off season demands bold, courageous action and messaging to the fan base that we're all kind of on the same page. A lot of reasons why fans would spend their time doing something else than going to a Cardinals game right now. Weather's perfect right now. I mentioned Jersey boys. You do have hockey season around the corner and a lot of things that make downtown St. Louis light up. I would also mention, on the subject of St. Louis being a great sports town, is we have a daily content. Bernie Miklasz, Randy Carricker show, sometimes with Brooke Grimsley, sometimes with Matthew Rocchio, sometimes with the guy at 7-Eleven. It's incredible. You should like and subscribe if you haven't already. Sara Dayley is killing it, has killed it for a long time. KSDK, Fox 2, no? Sara?
Yeah.
A
Yep. Yep.
long,
Yep.
extensive career in St. Louis, which is 2 thumbs up on my end.
So I'm a little curious. What do you think now that school's also back in session? The attendance is just going to be non-existent for the Cardinal fans when the Cardinals come back, because it's 4 at home, and that already makes it hard enough. And the weather is supposed to be nice. I mean, beautiful. But typically, we're getting excited about October baseball, right? And that's just not in the picture. At least I feel like for the Cardinals in any way, shape, or form at this point.
It's an annual tradition to be looking forward to October baseball, and with the swing of postseason baseball and how much of a gamble it is, how random results can come. You think to those Cardinals teams that were underdogs in '06 and to a certain extent 2011 as well, the rally squirrel game and all those things that make Cardinals fans kind of heartwarmed. Um, as for attendance, I don't know. Do they have one of those back to school days or like, grade schools fill up the outfield sections coming up on the schedule? Because if they do, then it bodes well. But I'm looking at the promotions right now. I see Brendan Donovan Magnet. I see Mystery Bobblehead. I see Mystery Magnet, Hello Kitty, Nikki Glazer, halfway to St. Patrick's Day, and a couple of flannels and hoodies and a hockey jacket. So I think the answer to that question is yeah, it might be hard to see. It might be hard to see people through the turnstile. I think from a cultural standpoint, um, there's a lot of rhetoric about downtown, and I haven't lived there before. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of it. But with the way that the district is laid out in downtown and Ballpark Village and all that, sometimes it's hard to demand that people come out from the suburbs or come out from Central West End and make a day of it, particularly when you're not exactly sure what you're there to watch. I've had this discussion the last few times I've been on here, but who is the Cardinals' best player? Who demands a pennant and a banner? Like who's the most talented guy? And I would struggle to answer that question. And it's not a knock on anyone. It's just you got a team kind of in this retooling phase. It's kind of in limbo. They're not great. They're not terrible. But they can turn in terrible performances like this one on the mound, and it should be, called out when it is. So, uh, man, it can just be flattening sometimes. You
It
know what I
is.
mean?
It absolutely is. Bill mentions, I say bring Weatherholt up for the last 30 games and let's see how he does. I know we've discussed this quite a few times, whether we bring him up or leave him until next season. But at this point, I don't necessarily think that he will put that many butts in seats when it comes to attendance. I mean, people want to see him, but I think they can do that from the comfort of their own home too, especially with the product collectively the team has been putting out. It would be a sight to see him in person, but I'm not necessarily sure that would change the dynamic at the stadium.
Yeah, and The caveat here is that when you call up any prospect, but even ones heralded as this, there's going to be some struggle. He might have a great week stretch to open the season, but then reality kicks in, or first 7 games to open his career. Um, if he gets on base at an exceptional clip to start, I mean, one man does not a great team or great product on the field make. So I, uh, at this point, you're not so worried about service time because if he gets, under 130 at bats, he's still eligible for Rookie of the Year. The Cardinals could get an extra draft pick if he does that. I think it's called PII, or like Outstanding Performance Developed Player. I can't name it off the top of my head. So in terms of roster flexibility and service time and all that, it doesn't hurt the Cardinals to have him up or get a cup of coffee. It's kind of to what end? It's extra film that you're giving pro clubs for next season, and you're getting some, conversely, some pitchers, some experience against your top prospect, and you're adding to a glut of guys on the left side of the infield between Gorman, Arenado, JC, Winn, and others who can play. I mean, Fermin could probably play the left side as well. We haven't seen him as much over there. So I discourage it, but I understand. And the fact that there is hunger to see younger guys come up and contribute in this way is great. You just wish that there was more momentum behind it and they were pushing towards something a little bit more concrete.
I've seen a lot of comments about DeWitt selling the team and that they need to move on. It's time. Charlie Smith here in the last comment says perhaps the Heat will help the DeWitts to sell the team. No one wants Bill DeWitt III as a CEO, owner of the Cardinals. He ruined the last summer with his comments, moving that last summer rather with his comments. So a lot of folks frustrated now. At first, pointing the finger at Ollie. Now it's been a couple of other Mo situations, and now it's just the DeWitts. Like Cardinal Nation is wanting someone to be held accountable and for heads to roll, something to happen to make a drastic situation.
Yeah, it's in vogue to call for ownership changes and coaching changes when things um spiral or go in an adverse way. Samuel Howe commenting here on YouTube, nice philosophy mantra here. Beware of the devil you don't know. If not the DeWitts, then who? And you could say that for any sort of vacancy here, whether it's president of
Right.
baseball ops, which is being filled by the incoming Heim Bloom, and then manager as well, with Ollie Marmol headed into a contract here. There's a lot up in the air, which is why I've always I think people prefer strong and wrong over people that labor over decisions. One of the knocks on Heim Bloom earlier in his front office career with Boston and prior to that Tampa was the deliberating over trades and kind of being milk toast at the deadline, which is not uncommon to Cardinals fans as well. Just given the sagas, the players that the Cardinals front office has been linked to in years past. I remember, was it 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago that the Juan Soto Nationals trade rumors were heating up, and even at that time, Bally Sports, the mothership, was doing Juan Soto check-ins, like actually legitimate reporting on rumors, which is journalistically, not our MO. But it's
Right.
one of those things where back in the day, like the Cardinals were at the forefront of good trades. Jim Edmonds with the then Anaheim Angels, like that's a great trade, and you had the prospect capital to make that happen. And these days, that hasn't been the situation for a number of reasons. Whether it's the talent on the farm, having given away some of their chips already, or just the team's position in the standings where they're not ready to compete.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors, of course, for having us here and for putting us on air. Nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day, and now it's turning into fall, but watching baseball. And the simplest way to get in the action is to download the Pick Six app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for two or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Don't settle for smaller payout. Switch to Pick Six, and right now, new customers get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. So download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and use STL Sports for your code. That's STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
And of course, coming
I
back, we
love.
already have sorry, go ahead.
No, I was loving all the crown is yours comments here on the chat.
Yeah.
Continue. Yeah.
And I haven't discussed this yet with anyone, but the price increase for ticket sales. I know that a lot of folks are not too happy about that. You have a product that you do out there in the field with the Cardinals performing like they are, and then they go ahead and just jack the prices up more, which that's a tough pill to swallow.
That is the pain of being a fan, is that in our eyes, the price correlates directly with the product on the field, and business people don't quite see it that way, where people demand more tickets as the team gets better, but yearly the prices are going to have to go up regardless. I'm not apologizing for anyone, but yeah, I mean, you think of all the ways that we can soothe ourselves and watch this game without having to go to the ballpark, or without driving 30 minutes downtown, or without spending, unless there's a great promotion or a great reason to go out. And I think that's just the thing that's bothered me the last 5-6 years, is that 2019 the Cardinals were not dominating, but they had some star players in their prime, and the Blues were doing their thing, and there was just a lot of swagger surrounding downtown St. Louis, and I've kind of seen that evaporate. The Pujols year in 2022 and the home run chase was kind of surreal.
Yeah.
We saw some really great moments down there, and a great reason to go, and it's just the lack of postseason success in that time frame post pandemic, and now just the overall experience. I can't. I'm with the fans on this one. Like, I gotta be. The prices definitely play an issue, as they should.
Charlie Smith commenting also, we touched on this, I think, Friday for just a smidge, but the strike on December 1st of 2026 is a huge thing, guys. I think it'll be 2 years that could be lost. I'm not so sure about that. But I do think it'll be a significant amount of time. I mean, there's going to be a lot of conversation that has to be had for all this to be smoothed over.
Yeah, that's a whole discussion for another time, in terms of when people float out salary cap, to the players. If I'm Tony
Right.
Clark heading the MLBPA, my comeback is, I thought this was America. Like, what are we doing? And Rob Manfred, the commissioner, going into the Phillies clubhouse and talking in circles about potential restructuring of the game. Didn't use the word salary cap, but you're talking to one of the game's most rich players in Bryce Harper, and he's telling you to get lost.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone trying to make a living in this game, um, no, I mean, that's kind of a non-starter. So uh, there's a lot we could go into about the owners and the players association going back and forth on this, but we've seen tensions escalate, especially starting with that pandemic season and the year after that, and the brief lockouts here and there. A work stoppage may happen. It's not, the CBA expires after this coming season, 2026. Am I right? So
Yeah.
they've got some time to iron things out. I we got to focus. I mean, Cardinals got to focus and turn inwards first before we can even broach the subject about shelling out that kind of money for other players.
All right. Final thoughts. The Cardinals currently probably in the process of flying back to St. Louis. 6:45 first pitch tomorrow. Same with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, an afternoon game at 1:15. Weather is supposed to be nice, but how do you see any of this working? Do you see the Cardinals picking up at least 2 games? I know it doesn't matter now, but do you really see them consistently still trying to compete, or do you think they're just going to try and like mediocre ride low? Because that's kind of what it feels like a little bit with some of the injuries and other parts that they're dealing with.
It's a really good question, Sarah. From my perspective, there's a little bit too much writing on this next month for some of these players. You're talking about a patchwork bullpen right now that missed a lot of arms, that traded away Phil Maton, Steven Matz, Ryan Helsley, and you're looking for a rotation that definitely needs a boost over the offseason for the Cardinals to be anywhere competitive in 2026. So, to your point, I think that there's a little bit too much to be lost for some of the players currently on this roster. As the roster expands, perhaps we'll see some guys get some more opportunities. And for Ali Marmol as well, the manager, like, again, worst possible position that you could be going into a contract year where no bold action was made in the previous offseason. So for your reputation and for you as a club first, organization first guy who's been loyal to a fault for 18 years, like, you got to fight tooth and claw till the end. I know organizationally, like, that might not be the hottest thing to say right now. And for Cardinals fans too, like, they would probably prefer a better draft pick than, come fifth runner up in the wild card race. But from my view, there's just too much writing. Players don't tank and players don't phone it in. For guys like Andre Palante and Michael McGreevy, like, you got to put your best self on tape here in September and let the outside stuff take care of itself.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Well, once again, if you are just joining us, 7-2, the Cardinals burned by the long ball to their loss in Tampa. Also walks, putting them in some trouble. But of course, they couldn't get it done after 4.5-hour rain delay. Storms moved through. A couple of fans, though, I was surprised they stuck it out a little bit to see the Rays take on the Cardinals, and quite a few Cardinal fans there. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I felt like there were more there than there have been here in St. Louis at times. So I'll go ahead and leave it at that. I'm a Cardinals fan through and through. But that's the amazing Luke, and I'm Sara Dayley, and we will see you right back here next time. Catch all the action tomorrow morning, I believe, starting with Randy and whoever his guest will be, and then the action will continue right here on STL Sports Central. Have a good evening.